Over a year ago, my buddy Tim came to me with what I first thought was a little bit crazy of an idea. Let's take a snow goose hunting trip. Now, I've hunted in South Dakota for over a decade and lived there for several years, and not once during that time did snow goose hunting ever cross my mind. I really didn't even pay attention to them. Some friends less than affectionately refer to them as sky carp, and we generally regarded them as more of a nuisance than a species worthy of our time or ammo. Before we set out to the Great Eastern Plains of South Dakota, I never would have imagined how these white devil birds can get under your skin and into your blood. The snow goose is named from the white plumage it gets as an adult. There are two variations, commonly referred to as snows and blues. While there is some dispute among ornithologists over its exact taxonomy, what is not in dispute is there are a ton of them out there. In the early 1980s, the mid-continent breeding population was estimated at 1.7 million birds, above the desired breeding population of about 1 million birds. Since then, the population has exploded, and today it is estimated there are over 5 million breeding birds in the mid-continent region. The total population of the snow geese, just for the Central Flyway, is estimated between 8 to 20 million birds, depending on who you ask, with their populations growing by an estimated 7% every year. It is not uncommon to see flocks of tens of thousands of snow geese flying above farm fields, and flocks of over 1 million birds at various wildlife refuges, such as the Squaw Creek National Wildlife Refuge near Mound City, Missouri. The continued increase in snow goose population has raised alarms among many who believe the species is on the brink of eating itself out of tundra. Because of this, hunting snow geese has become more popular, as most states now have no bag or possession limits on these geese. Like other waterfowl, they partake in a biannual migration, breeding in the far northern reaches of Greenland, Canada, and Alaska, and wintering as far south as Texas and Mexico. The Central Flyway they used for this migration is what took us to northeast South Dakota. While many would regard 10 hours in the car as boring, I've always enjoyed the trip from Wisconsin to South Dakota. It's a trip I've taken many times, which starts in the rolling hills of the driftless region of southwest Wisconsin, crosses the mighty Mississippi, and ends in the wide open plains of the upper Midwest. While many who have never been there regard South Dakota as just another one of the flyover states, the truth is, South Dakota is a state rich in wildlife, scenery, and outdoor opportunities. The state is bisected by the Missouri River, with the western part of the state best known for the Badlands, and of course the Black Hills. The eastern half of the state is mainly farmland and grazing land, but the northeast corner from Aberdeen to Watertown is covered with lakes and ponds, many which formed after massive flooding hit North and South Dakota in the 1990s. These resources, in combination with a strong dedication to maintaining public access to hunting and fishing land, provides incredible hunting and fishing opportunities across the state. Accompanying me on this trip was my wife Kimberly, my coworker Tim and his wife Amanda, our friend Mike, and another friend and coworker, Ryan. After months of planning and anticipation, we had made it to Aberdeen. We were happy to leave the stress of work behind us and to be spending time with friends. In the weeks approaching the trip, we had anxiously watched both the weather and news of the snow goose migration. Our guide, Billy, from Top Gun Outfitters in Rochester, Minnesota, explained to us that while some of the adult birds had moved into North Dakota, there were still plenty of juvenile birds left to hunt. This was good, because the adult birds are far more cautious than the juveniles, who are generally more eager to land in a field of decoys. The weather, on the other hand, was not looking great. A major snowstorm had just passed south of us, and another system was brewing to our north. While we hoped this would push birds in our direction, the forecast was not looking good. As we walked out to the decoy field in the morning, it was clear the only thing that was going to keep us warm until dawn was our anticipation for the hunt. Only a few minutes after legal shooting hours, we spotted our first flock. The geese would circle overhead, turning their bodies sideways in what's known as a maple leaf to rapidly drop elevation, then ride the wind back away from our spread and circle around for another pass. What I find so exciting about hunting is the anticipation. You can spend all morning sitting in a blind or in a stand without seeing squat, and a minute later be shooting geese or tagging out a monster buck. The problem is, the exact opposite can happen too. And though our day started great, the 2 geese we dropped from the first flock would be the only ones we'd take down all morning. Fishing has its first cast curse, and apparently, snow goose hunting has its first flock curse. Though the weather improved in the afternoon, our luck did not. Time and time again, a flock of geese would pass overhead, totally uninterested in falling for the secret ambush we had set up below. Perhaps with the nice weather, they just figured they'd keep going when the going was good. Or maybe today, they just didn't want to wind up on our dinner plate. As they say, there's a reason they call it hunting. While 2 birds was all we bagged on the first day, it was hard to be disappointed by spending a day in the blind with good company and good conversation. And as I had come to expect, South Dakota wouldn't let us down completely. As the sun began to sink in the west, we enjoyed a front row seat to one hell of an air show.